We don't play the social game. We are social. Power 98.5. You're listening to Power 98.5, powered by United Angels Dream, your #1 resource for public relations, entertainment, and multimedia. Contact them today at unitedangelsdream.com.
Hi, this is Dan Aykroyd. He's progressive. He's beautiful. He's thoughtful. He's intelligent. He's powerful. He's positive. He is Stephen Cuoco on Power 98.5 Satellite Radio.
Empowering listeners from the US to the UK. Live on air with Stephen Cuoco.
Good afternoon, everyone. You are live on air with Stephen Cuoco on Power 98.5. Beautiful, beautiful Sunday afternoon. We've got rain. Snow is melting. We are heading up into 50 degrees, and I'm excited. I can finally park in my driveway again. Had over 2 feet of snow for the longest time. As you all know, all the snow that we got out here in the Northeast. And spring is coming. In less than 1 month, it's going to officially be spring. Guarantee you, airports are going to be packed. Planes are going to be packed. And if they say that they're not packing planes, that's bullshit, because I've been traveling from time to time, being very responsible, getting my COVID test before leaving, getting back, and those planes are getting filled up. I've got my good friend, someone who I'm very proud and very happy to have with us today, Mr. Tom Weber. Tom Weber is a veteran in the music and touring industry. He's worked with Poison. He's better known as Eddie Van Halen's guitar tech, Reba McEntire. He knows Bret Michaels. You're going to find out a lot about who he knows. He's high in demand, very sought out. I did introduce him over to Breaking in a Sequence. If you all don't know, that's David Severia from Korn, his new band. They've been out for quite some time. And yeah, let's get Tom on the line. Tom, how are you?
I'm well, sir. How about yourself?
Got no complaints. We both are getting rain. We both are merging into spring.
Absolutely. Thinking about building a raft or buying a boat, because it's coming down here like cats and dogs. So glad to hear you're losing the snow. We lost ours last week. And, good riddance. We don't know what to do with snow and ice in Kentucky. I grew up in Michigan, so it's no big deal for me. But the people around me, oh my God, I feel so bad for them.
We had to, well, you and I were on the phone, if you remember, Tom, the day when we were chatting, because we've been trying to sort this out to get you live on air for quite some time. And I got a call, if you remember, from my neighbor Kelly being like, we've got to move all of our cars. The city's coming down with the trucks and everything to remove all that snow out of here. So I had 2 vehicles out of reposition.
I remember that. That was chaotic. And I got to move my vehicle. And where do you expect me to put it?
Exactly. I then ended up going down to the local sub shack and ended up finding out, do you guys mind you, this is almost lunchtime. Do you mind if I put my vehicle here? And she's like, well, we don't care if you buy something up. But she's like, I'm going to be getting very busy. So she told me where I can put it. But you know what? I didn't mind a walk. So I ended up finding a neighboring street and just parked both of them down there. But yeah, I still can't even get into my driveway. I still have probably about half a foot of snow still there.
Yeah, we live in the country, back behind the neighborhood that we live in. So, my driveway is 1,000 feet long.
What?
So you can when you get out here in the sticks, we live outside of a town with a population of 628. So it's officially the country, and nobody plows anything out here until the very end. It's like, we're an afterthought. Oh yeah, we got to get back there and plow those people out. They haven't been able to get out for 4 or 5 days. So, but my driveway, oh my God, if we have snow on that long of a gravel driveway, you just wait. hope that you have enough stuff to fix, to eat, and you'll get out when you get out, because if you lose sight of the driveway, you end up off of the gravel and in the yard, and then it's mud, and then you have to pay to have your car towed out. And I don't know anything about that from actual knowledge at all. It says here, so. But it can be more trouble than it's worth, that's for sure. It's nice that the city came by and plowed your streets, because that doesn't happen out here. So, but,
well, at least you were better off, Tom, than being in Texas, where people were sweeping
oh my God,
their driveways.
Oh my God, I've got lots of friends down there, and what a nightmare for them. I just, you don't even know what to say. It's just that none of that should have ever happened. Those people were just put in a bad place and left there. So hopefully that's all sorting out.
They didn't get the 16,000, 6,000 the electric bill that they were showing on the news, did they?
I've got one friend who got one for 11,000. It's just insane. I don't understand how that math works, or how the utilities, at stress times purchase power from another company, and how they're allowed to charge that much. But it did happen that way for some, I guess. That's just fundamentally wrong on every level, and shouldn't be legally allowed to happen. Somebody needs to go to jail for that.
Did he get out of that bill, or what happened? Did he contest it?
I think everybody's working on getting that straightened out, but the question is, how? What do you do? I'd be so mad I wouldn't know how to even start at that point. If I got a $16,000, $10,000 electric bill, I'd lose my mind. I'm sure there's lots of folks in that same boat. With everything else going on, you just kind of go, oh man, what's again? It just keeps piling on. We've got plenty, and they've got plenty, and holy crap, what do we do now? So it is what it is, and we'll all find our way somehow, or we won't. The whole COVID thing hasn't made anything nice for anybody, in my end of the industry. So it's just another day and another open the mailbox to figure out what the hell has happened today that I don't know about. So here we are. So God love it.
I saw a recent post. Someone said, do we live in a twilight zone? Because I tell you, they're nitpicking every little detail about Biden and his cabinet and everything else like that that's going on. So it was like, I was waiting for butterflies and fairy tale and Cinderella and Snow White to pop out from the trees out here and everything else to be happening. But it sure the fuck ain't like that now.
Nope. No, not at all. Not at all. I've tried to stay out of politics as much as I can, because it is just, all I can do is just sit and shake my head. And there isn't a day goes by where somebody on either side of the quote unquote aisle says or does something that just makes me go, what planet am I living on? Everybody's at fault. There's nobody. They've all lost their minds, and they've all lost the concept that they represent us, and they're supposed to be working for our benefit. And it just isn't going that way. It just isn't going that way. So, God, I can hardly wait to wake up from this nightmare and realize that I have a tour bus to get on, and a concert tour to do, and everything's right with the world. But hopefully I'll live that long.
You will. You will.
Oh, goodness.
Well, you got to start working with breaking in a sequence. I mean,
there you go. I had a great phone call with the guitar player out there, and he said, we can't afford you, and I said, well, if the alternative is I got nothing to do, I'll go have fun with you guys and make music. It doesn't bother me a bit. We'll have a ball. So I think we're going to have some future conversations, and hopefully we can get to be good friends out of that whole thing. I thank you for that introduction. That was great. So.
You're welcome, and I'm going to keep introducing you.
Oh boy, new people. Awesome.
Well, you definitely are not going to go unseen. One of the topics and the main topic I remember you shared with me before we went live that you would like to touch on the fact that if it can happen to you, it can happen to everyone. And that's a common
Absolutely.
theme
Absolutely.
that seems to be apparent. But if ever so now in this day and age, people are really finding out by putting it to the test or challenge where your management's at, your PR's at, your agency is at, record labels are at, touring, all of that.
Right.
For those that are
Right.
tuning in, we have Tom Weber. He is a world-renowned guitar tech. He's got an impeccable A-list, which you don't need a lot, but his A-list clientele of who really seeks his expertise and professional objective advice, the roster, Reba McEntire, Eddie Van Halen, Poison. And I'm going to read something here. Ed is a force of nature. I understand the math behind how a guitar works. Ed does things on the guitar that defy the math, said Weber.
Absolutely.
Here it then continues to say, I've sat with him and watched him do things that you can't do. Ed doesn't play guitar. The guitar submits to Ed's will. It's truly an amazing thing. It's a very inspiring place to be. For Weber, who logs 14 or 15 hours on concert days, setting up gear, stringing guitars, replacing electronic pickups, and making sure every instrument is in optimum condition for sound check and performances, the Van Halen tours represent the latest highlight of colorful and often difficult career music. That long, hard road, as he puts it, includes surviving a battle with cancer in the 1980s. For the past 12 years, he also has served as a guitar tech in stints with Cincinnati rock band Blessid Union of Souls and Poison lead guitarist C.C. DeVille.
Sounds about right. And it's been a long trip. Obviously, that article was geared towards my background as a guitar technician, but I started. I started ages and ages ago. I'm 63 years old at this point. I built my first guitar when I was 14. I've been playing since I was 5. And my professional career in the concert industry actually started with me being an audio technician. I was one of the guys that set up the sound systems, and I progressed to be an audio engineer, where I was actually the guy running sound for the bands. Started out doing shows with Bob Seger, Ted Nugent, Ronnie Montrose, back in the early mid 70s, and ran the gamut with all of everybody in the music industry over the years. Never gave one thought to being a guitar technician or what we would call a backline technician, backline guy, the guys that work on the actual band equipment. But I came off the road in the early 90s, and my son had been born, and I wanted to hang around and be a part of him growing up for a while. And I lived in Cincinnati. I'd moved to Cincinnati after my cancer treatment, 87, 88. I was diagnosed with cancer of everything, and they said, "You're dead in 3 weeks. There's nothing we can do for you." And I signed away all my legal rights, and they made an experiment out of me for 2 years, inpatient basically for 18 months. I got chemotherapy that glowed in the dark, pretty much. It was definitely the radioactive stuff that tries to kill you first, so that the cancer doesn't. But I managed to make it through that. My first wife divorced me in the hospital, so I walked out 2 years later with $7 and the clothes that I wore in. And since then, I got back into the music industry, tried to get a guitar repair shop going, and I've invested years and bunches of money into making that happen. And yeah, I think the point being made with all of this is the hope we're all suffering through the effects of COVID, but everybody had a life before that was either it's anywhere from absolutely magnificent to as far down the line to crappy as you could get. And the COVID thing has amplified the bad in every life situation at this point. 2016, I was on tour with Journey. The building that my shop had been in for 26 years was being sold. A friend of mine owned the building, and he needed to sell that and the building he was in so he could get into the building that he needed. And the fellow that the group of people that bought it, the fellow that was the mouthpiece or the face that I dealt with, the whole time he'd been looking at the building for the previous year, he was saying, we don't want you to move. We're not going to change your rent. Huge Van Halen fan. Maybe my partners and I can invest in what you're doing, and you can come home and live out your dream in this building. And I'm just shaking my head and thinking, this is the most amazing thing. How could this be any better than that? And 48 hours after they took possession of the building, we got the email that says, yeah, you got 30 days to go from 17,500 square feet down to 4. And it was a week and a half before I had to be in Japan with Journey. So can't quit. That would be unethical in my mind. And can't move, can't sell. So we moved all of the very most important stuff into the 4,000 square feet, and I donated the rest to charity. And got on an airplane, went to Japan, finished the Asian run, came home, and a month later, 3.5 weeks later, and got an email the next day saying, yeah, we've decided that 4,000 square feet, by the time we get the utilities figured in, we figured that you're going to end up spending $9,000 a month on that space, and you're the only remaining tenant in the 44,000 square foot building. So building maintenance is your responsibility too, and the gas bill for January, estimated gas bill for January is going to be $35,000. No, I don't think so. So we had 19 days to clear ourselves out of there. Scrapped 10.5 tons worth of woodworking machinery and fixtures, and watched 8 20-yard dumpsters of my personal property go to the landfill because I didn't have any place to put it, and donated a bunch more stuff to charity. Found a couple of small storage spaces to put things that were important to me, and closed what was to be where I was going to come home and retire to. When I decided that touring wasn't going to be it anymore. 26 years worth of investing in it and working on it. I figure it cost me $1.5 million that I'd put in it over the years, and nothing to show for it. So, and then a couple of short years worth of touring in 18 and 19. Not bad years, but not great. And 2020 was supposed to be the best year of my life. Rehearsing with Reba McEntire when the whole COVID thing came to pass, and that tour was supposed to take me up to the end of May. Next day, I was supposed to be in LA rehearsing with Poison for the Motley Crue Def Leppard Poison Stadium tour, and then the day after that came down, it was back to Reba and a couple of other smaller runs with bands up until 3 days before Christmas. $200,000 a year all day long, and it went to absolutely zero overnight. And here we are. It's so amazing when you think about these situations. I'm not the only person that has a story like this. There's lots of them, I'm sure. But I find it amazing that looking in the mirror and thinking of all of the planning that I'd done and all the investment and time and effort that I had made over the years, scrimping and scraping to make ends meet, but still be able to add to the shop because the future was there. I look in the mirror and I go, if this can happen to me, it can happen to anybody. And COVID made that absolutely evident, and the part for me, I watched the numbers in China right off the bat. It was a couple of people, and then the next day it was a couple of hundred, and then it was 1,000, and then 4,000. And I thought, this is going to sweep the globe, and we're not going back to work anytime soon. So, my wife and I discussed it. And we thought, I was 62 years old, able to file for Social Security, which doesn't amount to a whole heck of a lot. There's no way that I could keep, my budget going on what Social Security paid. So we put the house in forbearance and forestalled the inevitable by moving the mortgage payment to some other time in the term of the agreement. Hopefully, that's not a given. That you have to be eligible for that, and I guess they decide that when the time comes. But that was a year ago, and we're staring down the barrel of that. The finish date on that forbearance program is coming up quickly, and the work isn't coming back. And holy crap, here we are. I was contacted by an old friend, lady named Sandy Espinoza, and Sandy started Sandy has started a nonprofit called roadiecare.com, and she's trying to feed people. She set up a GoFundMe page for me, which I was humiliated about at first, and it's just it's not something that at 63 years old you want to have to say I need somebody to help me, but it's a reality. We see programs like Save Our Stages. It's an initiative to put together donations to help bail out venues. The theaters, the concert venues have no income, and it's keeping the doors open, but it's not necessarily helping the individuals that work there because there's nothing for them to do. The PPP loans that are happening are for businesses and private individuals that have worked on a 1099 basis rather than being employees. But there's a group of us. We've been employees of bands for the past couple of decades. It's shifted back and forth a few times between contract labor and employees. And at this point, most of us are employees. So we're able to file for unemployment. Good luck doing that in this day and age because you can't get through to anybody. And we were coming off of the end of a moderate year in 2019, so everybody was on unemployment when COVID hit or before. So we haven't had the ability to have the income over the course of time that people who filed the first time have had. But and we spend people that do what I do. The backline technicians, the freelance audio and lighting people. We all wear black to keep. We blend into the shadows. We blend into the dark spaces on the stage, and we try not to be seen unless it's absolutely necessary. And I think the unfortunate side effect of that is that most people don't realize that we even exist. And you walk in to see your favorite band play at a concert, and everything's all set up, and it's going to be great, and everybody looks at it, it's like, wow, this is cool. But not very many people give any thought to the fact of, I wonder who did that. and the sheer numbers of people involved. The Van Halen tour in 2007, we had 14 buses. Well, you put 10 or 12 people on a bus, you've got 100 and some odd, 120, 140 people touring with the tour. And then on any given day, you've got 100 to maybe 180 local stagehands. So there's an army, there's a small army on a daily basis that's involved with setting up a show like this. And those are the people that we're being left out of all of the bailouts, or I shouldn't say bailouts because it's really not that. It's the preservation efforts. I think is probably a better way to put that. But it's a matter of the people that are trying to put these programs together don't necessarily understand how many of us there are. There's between 6 and 7 million of us out of work in the United States, between 16 and 18 million worldwide, that nobody knows we're here. And that's making it really rough on a lot of people, me included. But Sandy and roadiecare.com, which is her page, they're trying to make a real difference. And she's just bent over backwards to try and help me. I've got a buddy in Nashville, Danny O'Neill. She put together a GoFundMe for Danny. He's been with Matchbox 20 for ages, and the Moody Blues, and all kinds of folks. And we're people that we're not used to being in a position to have to ask for help. Our pride won't let us, first off, because there's nothing that we can't do on a daily basis. That's why we do what we do for a living. It's a challenge every day. We rise to the challenge. The show comes off, and we're proud of that. And pride's not a good thing right this minute. So it's just one of those things that's going to stand in the way of you opening your mouth and saying, I'm in a bad place and I need help. So on that note, because I'm doing all of the talking, I'm gonna say, check into, log into or Google roadiecare.com and read about what's going on. Become educated. If there's anything that you can do it, because there's a lot of us that can't at this point. And I just want to get that word out so that somebody can help somebody, and the world gets back to being a real place where we're all proud to live in and happy to be associated with everybody that we know, and have made new friends because we've helped or been helped by somebody that we didn't know yesterday. So that's the only way we're going to get out of this whole mess, is if everybody puts everything away that is standing in the way, and holds out a hand and helps, or allows themselves to be helped by somebody that they've never met before. That's the way the world's going to have to go to get back on its feet, and we all know it. Let's get off our asses and do it. So I'm going to take a breath, and you can talk.
No, I love this. You are the perfect guest to interview, because this is exactly, for me, the style that I like. It's, you're owning the narrative. This show is about you. This episode is about you. And I'm going to say congratulations. You are hitting almost 24,000 on the GoFundMe, which the goal right now is 40, but yeah, 23,560 as of today, February 28th, 2021.
Right. I want to say something about GoFundMe pages. I noticed the other day, the thought crossed my mind. If you look at a GoFundMe, you look at my page, and it's at $24,000. And I don't want anybody to get the idea that there's $24,000 sitting there. You set up a GoFundMe page for disbursements to be made, on daily, weekly, bi-weekly basis. And that money, I don't remember how long that GoFundMe's been up, but it's been a couple of months. Anyway, and though that money is dispersed to the consignee on a regular basis, so that you can pay bills and you can buy groceries and things like that you would do with normal income. So if you look at a GoFundMe, if you find one that you think is a good thing and there's a big number attached to it, just make sure and remember that it's not just sitting there in a lump sum. People have been, the person that is benefiting has had access to that money and is making their car payment and making their house payment and, doing what needs to be done. Me, we're still we're working against that number in the forbearance program. So I'm going to be looking at a year's worth of mortgage payments that I'm going to have to catch up on, if my bank doesn't tack it onto the other end of the mortgage. And at 63, I don't think they're even going to consider that. So I won't live long enough to make that happen. So we're going to be in a tough place coming up here pretty soon, but we'll see what happens with it. But I want to say to everybody involved, Sandy especially, and everybody that's donated, everybody that's listening right now, everybody that has listened to everything that I've done interview wise or read, in a couple of newspaper stories that I've done here recently. Just I want to say thank you to everybody, because without all of you, all of us are going to be in a really bad place for a long time. And I just want everybody to know that we appreciate it. And I'm hoping that everybody will look into roadiecare.com, donate to them. Sandy's just being an angel to an awful lot of people, and she needs all the help that she can get with this. With her, she's helping other people that can't help themselves, and we need to make sure that she succeeds, because without her succeeding, an awful lot of people won't. We may not. There may not be people to put on live shows. If it keeps going the way that it's going, you never know.
And a share, we will see. And I believe, I said it before, I'm going to say it again. I've said it on a couple of other shows that, we've gone through the Hunger Games uprising, and I believe we're going to go through more coming this spring and summer. You only can do so much, but it's going to be quite interesting, once people meet the numbers that are allegedly supposed to be met for the vaccination, then it's like, do things still stay closed? And I really believe the government and people, or the powers that be, are going to be fucked once the numbers are met, and then things are still staying shut down. It's not going to work.
There's an awful lot that's going to come to light, I think. I'm afraid, and it's all going to be about money and power. And it's unfortunate. We're seeing people that are saying, oh yeah, we're going to have shows by the third quarter of 2021, or we're going to do this by 2022. And honestly, I don't see us doing anything before 2024. Because the math doesn't add up. It just doesn't add up.
I believe you're right.
I hate it when that happens.
You're right. I know you're right. And I'm sure many other people know you're right.
Yeah. I don't want to have to say something like that, but you know what? Somebody has to. Mm-hmm. Somebody has to prove me wrong, and I will be the first person to stand up and go, you know what? I was an idiot, and I'm glad that I was an idiot. I'm glad I was wrong, but the one time in my life, I hope I am wrong, but I just don't see it. No, I don't see it.
I agree. And to add a bit into what you shared about Roadie Care, and I'm very grateful to Sandy and for Sandy, what she's doing. You can go to roadiecare.com, ROADIE, care, CARE.com. You can adopt a roadie, and people in need can use electronic gift certificates to Target, Walmart, Amazon, so they can buy food to survive. These stories are nationwide. so people can get help anywhere in the United States. Currently, Roadie Care is working on other options for people outside of the U.S. If you want to help, please consider an electronic gift certificate in any amount that will make a huge difference in someone's life. Let Roadie Care know how you would like to participate. You can go to roadiecare.com, contact them. They do have supporters there. Contact page. You can send them a quick email. They are on top of everything. They were recently, this was recently written about in Forbes magazine. I did an interview with Sandy a while back ago. They've got that up on their Instagram, or not Instagram, on their roadie.com page. They were also on Music Combined podcast, but the Forbes article was really well done. And Tom, currently, for February, is the Adopt a Roadie. He is I would say, the highlight of the month on Roadie Care. And I believe that they changed that out. And I believe someone would be new for the month of March.
I think that's right. I want to add a quick little thing here, just something that came to mind. I don't want anybody to think that, if you look at the numbers that are being done, the numbers that are being donated, and it's not a number that you can do, don't be afraid of any little bit that you can help. I became friends with what turns out to be a young man young boy on Facebook. He was part of one of the Van Halen fan pages. And he sent me a messenger message saying that he had seen my GoFundMe and he was not old enough to have any money, but he wanted to donate $1 because that's what he had. And that his parents listened to Van Halen, and that's how he got involved with listening to it in the fan page. And he donated $1. And this young man can't be, 8 or 10 years old, and literally brought me to tears. So, if $1 makes that much of a difference from somebody who doesn't have one, but was willing to help, imagine anything that you can do is going to be appreciated by so many. And that's all I can say about it. It really is appreciated by everyone involved. So don't be afraid if you can't donate a big number. Anything helps. It's going to help somebody. So,
well, the donations here are I see from $5 all the way up to $500.
Oh yeah. And there was honest to God, the most amazing thing. There have been 2 donations on my on my GoFundMe page. A Van Halen tribute band in Germany. They got together and donated $1,000, and I've been in contact. I messaged them, and it's like, holy God, how do you say thank you to people like that? And there was another donor, fellow that I met through one of the Van Halen fan clubs, had purchased a piece of Van Halen musical equipment years ago, and wanted to know if I had any knowledge of it. And we had a great conversation. And the next morning I wake up and he had donated $1,000. I was like, oh my God, there are people out there that can make that difference. But if you can't, don't be discouraged and don't let it stop you, because we need help for everybody from every direction we can get it. So all I can say is thank you to everyone. So we're praying for you. You're praying for us. That's the biggest thing. We all got to watch out for one another at this point. So,
and I'm very happy for you. I'm proud of you. And I know that other blessings had recently come in that you had shared about that were like caught you completely off guard and took you by surprise. So I've always felt and believe you were going to be fine one way or another, whatever that means to you or that term. I just felt like I just truly just believe and still believe what is happening here. we may not know the results now or what will definitely happen moving forward. However,
Right.
things that were meant to be brought to light, such as what you do, other people like Sandy, like said, like I believe it's like what in thousands, if not millions, like there are a lot of you out there, and now you're finally being seen. Because, like you said, you were always told, or you had to wear black, you couldn't be known. It doesn't make
Right.
sense. I think it would add continuity to be like, oh wow, like to get the whole experience. But you guys can't be hidden anymore. You guys can't be pushed back in the dark anymore. And a
No.
lot of people that have not planned to be responsible and take care of what they needed to take care of across the board, especially even, you guys can't get those PPP checks.
No.
They're going to have to
Not
answer for it.
eligible. No. Not eligible for it. So
That blows my mind.
yeah, mine too. Mine too. But here we are.
Mhm.
We'll, hopefully, I'd like to see efforts made in a direction where there are funds set aside from the touring and music presentation industry, so that this kind of thing can't happen again. If there is a catastrophic failure of some sort, that people have some place to turn, that is it's a fail safe. We have to start looking at that, because this pandemic has brought that into evidence. It's blatantly evident that the system doesn't work the way that it is. So it has to be fixed somehow for everybody's benefit. So, yeah, we'll get through it one way or the other. Hopefully, more of us than less, and with everybody's help, we can make it through it, and we all want to, no question about it. So humanity is more resilient than this. We've been through worse than this, and we probably will again. But it sure does bring, you don't know that the boat leaks until you put it in the water. There's not a real way to check patch things that you don't know aren't going to work. So here we are. We're bailing, and hopefully we won't have to do that next time. So
it's going to get sorted out one way or another. And with the two blessings of the phone calls that you got,
amen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have yet to realize what that all is going to end up with. But I heard from CC DeVille the other day, and I heard from Brett Michaels yesterday, and they basically, it's like, dude, we had no idea that you were, in such a mess. Let's see what we can figure out. But we will. That's the great thing. It's gonna get worked out, and I just, you have to stand on your own 2 feet, and you have to open your mouth and say, hey, I'm not in a good place. I need help. And then on the other side of that, people have to open their ears and hear that, and then say, okay, they have to ask themselves, what can I do to make this better? We love all of you, and we do what we do for you guys. It's all about the show. The lights go down, and everybody cheers, and that's the validation that we get. That's the thing that makes us proud to be who we are, and do what we do, because we know that it makes a huge difference to those that come to see what we've done. I can hardly wait to do it again. So,
how long does it take to set up a show and disassemble after this?
well, I think that's the coolest part. What I really think that they should sell tickets for the after for loadout. I think that it would be worth the price of admission for people to be able to sit in a seat and watch this big magnificent show come apart and go back into cases and into trucks. We literally, it can take, depending on the number of hands that we have, it can take anywhere from 4, 8, 10, 12 hours to set this thing up. But they usually come down in 2.5 hours or less. And the last Poison tour that we did in 2017, the record to get that show out, and that's everything. You know, the band gear, sound, lighting, pyrotechnics. Because Poison's known for like blowing things up and sparks and fire and all of that stuff during the show, and it takes time to get all that stuff down. But we managed to get out in under an hour, and holy crap, folks, it was just amazing. It's organized chaos. It's like it's like kicking over an anthill and watching all of the ants put it back together again, because it's got to come down and go in the same place, in the same box that it came out of this morning, or we're not going to find it tomorrow. So it's very, very organized. You know, if you want something done, you know, right and effectively, find a roadie, because we figure out the best way to do something, and it happens every damn day, just like it's supposed to. But that would be a hoot. Sell tickets for load in, sell tickets for load out, sell tickets for the show. Awesome. It'd be great. It would be great. People would be really impressed at what actually happens. So definitely. Respect the ones that put it all together. You know.
What's the best advice you would have for someone who's looking to get into your profession? Let's say if pandemic was not happening right now, what is your passion? What are you most passionate about and could offer words of encouragement? Because you guys will always be needed.
Well, first off, don't do it. No, I think that honestly, that's the those would be the first three words of the sentence. There has to be a comma there. Don't do it unless you have a plan for the other end of what you're doing. You know, there comes a day where you're not going to be putting shows on anymore. You're going to be old enough to want to go home or need to go home, and you better have made a plan to do so. And this pandemic has basically shown that those plans don't necessarily mean anything. But you know, I think that if somebody wants to do this, they have to look at the lifelong picture of it. You know, the average tour, or the average touring life expectancy of somebody that does what I do is 7 to 10 years. And here I've been at it for, 47. Now, I'm a lifer, and I guess that means I either really love it or I'm just too dumb to get out. But follow the passion. If you love what you do, you'll never work a day. No matter how hard it is or how much you're sweating, at the end of the day, you're going to smile and go, "Yep, that was a good day." But you have to be, if you get into this business, save the money first off, and make plans. Make sure that you're qualified to do something outside of music, so that if you have to, you can. Because that's learn by be wise. Learn by the mistakes of others. That's the best advice that I can give. Nothing that you're going to run into either in the entertainment industry or in life in general is going to be something that nobody has ever experienced before. Find situations that are similar to the situation that you're in. Find out how other people dealt with it before you stick your foot into something that you don't have any idea what you're doing. Find out how it worked out for other people. Figure out what you need to do and what you shouldn't do, and live your life that way. Always research what's going on for you and what the answers are. You're never in such a bad situation so that there isn't an answer.
I like that. Thank you so much. Is there anything that you would like to add, Tom, that we may not have covered? Like, who's been your favorite artist you've worked with, or have they all been that way? I don't want to go too deep into inside secrets, because I'm sure whether you had ever signed an NDA or not, what can you share?
Well, I think, I have favorites, and that's great. Working with and not assigning any particular order to this. Obviously, working for Ed was a pinnacle situation in my career, and I loved Ed to death. We'd been friends since 1987. I always told everybody that Ed was my boss. CeCe's my boy. I have so much fun with CeCe DeVille. It's ridiculous. He's one of the funniest, most sincere individuals that you'll ever meet. Working with Reba McEntire is an absolute blessing. I mean, Reba is every bit as nice as you'd hope she'd be, and then some. Just a stunning individual. And there's always moments where you go, what the heck was that? But I try to, I steer clear of all of those, and I focus on the positive of the folks that I deal with. Ed and Reba and CeCe and Billy Duffy from The Cult and Robin Fink from Nine Inch Nails. Yeah, these are all Paul Doucette from Matchbox 20. My list of guitar artists is not very long. It's because the phone rings and I come back, which is great. I'm very honored and very humbled by the fact that people like having around, and I like what I do, so they want me to come whenever they're going someplace. They want me to go with them. So they're all just wonderful people, favorites. I heard from Billy Duffy here a week or so ago. He and Ian are concerned about what's going on, and it's going to come around. It's going to come around, and it's because of people like them and people like you and people like your listeners. It all ties together in the end and becomes a much larger picture. And I want to say to the people that are listening that are in a bad place, don't be afraid to reach out to people that can help you, especially if you're in my industry. My buddy Danny, he didn't want the GoFundMe thing. It's one of those things where it's humiliating. You got to admit that something didn't work. And he said, I can't promote it. I can't talk about it. I said, well, would you or would you not stand on a street corner with a cardboard sign that says, I'll work on guitars for food for my family? Well, of course. I said, okay, so what's the difference? And there was a little silence, and he said, yeah, you're right. You got to stand up and you got to say something. And that's what I'm doing. I'm speaking not just for myself, but I'm speaking for everybody like me. We have to stand up and wave or jump up and down and yell and say, hey, I need help. Because if you don't ask for it and nobody knows that you need it, it's not going to show up. So open your mouth, open your eyes, open your hearts, to whoever those things apply for. Do those things and we'll be fine. We'll get from one end of this to the other as best we can, but it's going to take all of us. So Steve, I want to thank you especially today for having me on this show. This is a great opportunity for me and people like me to be heard.
You're very welcome, Tom. You deserve it, and you're more than welcome to come back on anytime.
I'd like that.
Going on, absolutely. And listen, you can always share a world of wealth. I mean, you've got decades.
Oh yeah, the stories. Oh my God, the stories. I love what I do. It is who I am, and I tell people I wouldn't trade my world for anything, or I wouldn't trade my life for anything, but I wouldn't wish it on anybody.
Good.
Oh, that's just definitely the truth of the matter. You look at it and go, what the hell am I doing? And then you think, why would I want to do anything else? So here we are.
Well, I'm proud of you. It's an honor to know you. Once again, thank you everyone for tuning in with Tom Weber, as well as me here on Live on Air with Stephen Cuoco on Power 98.5. I will be uploading an article very soon on eModge Magazine International page and Power 98.5 satellite radio page. You will find Tom's GoFundMe link there. And you can go to gofundme.com / Tom Weber. Needs help to save his home. He's at $23,585. While doing this interview,
it went up.
It went up. Kurt Perkins donated $25. Got Wayne Brown, who did $100, and then you got Mitchell Zelewski. He did $20. So see that, it came in even while we were live.
Yeah. Thank you to everyone that's participating. You have no idea what it means to me. So keep the ball rolling for everybody that you know. Look at everybody. Look at your neighbors. Look at your friends. Look at your family members. And if they don't have the big smile on their face that they used to have, ask them what's wrong. If they can't come to you, go to them. If you notice a change in somebody, ask them what's wrong. It'll make a difference, I promise. So, Steve, thanks so much for having me. I don't have the words to say thank you for the opportunity to tell what's going on. It really means so much to all of us. So we'll touch base. We'll make sure that we touch base on this and again as it progresses and see how it's going.
Absolutely. And go to roadiecare.com, just like it sounds, Roadie, ROADIE care.com. Adopt a Roadie. Sandy Espinoza is the CEO and founder. This is a nonprofit. They do work with helping people get food in their homes, gift cards, Target, Walmart. Have any questions, reach out to them. Tom has his GoFundMe page. I'm hoping and praying that he reaches above the goal of $40,000. Many blessings unexpected are coming in. Definitely go to power985.com, Power 98.5's webpage. I will have more about Tom and a GoFundMe information and a link directly there with this interview. As you all know, that I do post an article, to follow up where you may not have been able to listen. I do have the Defy player there, so you can tune in live. Thank you to everyone who has joined us here on this, I think, a beautiful Sunday afternoon. We're having a nice, lovely rainy day. Tom got more of a movie scene rainy day, Jurassic Park style rainy day. But at least Tom is safe.
So far. No need for an arc just yet.
Not yet. It will one day.
Yep.
One day.
Amen.
Anything else you want to close out with or share with the audience?
I think you have done an amazing job with closing us out. I couldn't add to that with anything any better. I promise. So
wonderful, Tom. Stay on the line, everyone. Thank you for joining us live on air with Stephen Cuoco. We hope you have a fantastic day. Stay safe.
Find us on your socials and let's connect.